Gosh, I already noticed an error. I misnamed this stream already. You know what? I'll fix that when it's time to fix. I don't know if I can. Can I change the name of the stream from here? I wonder. Hold on. Hold on. Uh, you know what? It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Um, yeah, just gonna whatever. For any VOD watchers, it's like 9 p.m. Eastern for me right now. Um, and grinding world tournament is boring. And I want to at least get the 20 runs done. And by the time the end of this video is over, which I'm watching Nexpo, by the way, I'll stop playing world tournament because I know you're supposed to get like 3 million, I think, points total if you want to get all the missions done. Which that's a big to do. I just don't. World tournament was fun the first few times, but it's old. It is old. So, but yeah, just gonna watch YouTube while I grind. Hopefully, I don't forget to press buttons.
I have discovered a series in the realm of Local 58. A VHS archive of an ordinary broadcast company. Animal education, storm safety, space knowledge, artificial intelligence, and are among the topics presented to us in the form of short, educational VHS guides. Tonight, we will envelop ourselves within this fantastic educational series. This is Gemini Home Entertainment. Oh yeah, I'm digging this. On our plate tonight is an analog horror series by an internet creator named Remy Abode, birthed from an alternate reality gone awry. Containing events stemming from the hope for a brighter future, Gemini Home Entertainment is a video distribution company ready to take you on an educational trip through various avenues of life knowledge. What that knowledge is exactly is unclear at this point in time, but what we do know is that something in their reality is out of place. Something isn't right here. The series was born on November 13th of 2019 and has since built up to a total of 16 videos, each with their own surprises and each giving us a different piece of the puzzle as to what's happening within this world. The guides are presented in a VHS anthology format, a far cry from the silent onlooking and broadcast interruptions we experienced in Local 58. Whoever's behind Gemini wanted people to see this, and everything within each recording is as it should be. Tonight on our plate, we have the following before us: World's Weirdest Animals, Storm Safety Tips, The Deep Blue, Artificial Computer Learning, Our Solar System, Camp Information Video, Lethal Omen, wilderness survival guide, sleep image visualizer, games for kids, advanced mining vehicle, deep root disease, monthly progress report, Christmas Eve party, home invasion help, and last but not least, Crusader probe mission. Because there doesn't appear to be any sort of established timeline here, we're going to tackle these in the order of their release date. If you can't tell by now, we've got our work cut out for us, so pop open those Lunchables and grab that Crystal Pepsi. We're about to dive into some analog horror. This, my friends, is Gemini Home Entertainment.
Real quick, I'm gonna, because I don't want head. I'll post this on Twitter.com. The link to the stream at least, but I might as well. I don't have a reason not to, so I'll do that.
World's Weirdest Animals.
Share, copy, just in case, because Twitter's a landmine sometimes.
The video opens by showing a strange and wacky wildlife that inhabits various regions of Minnesota, like prairie chickens and burrowing owls. The overall pacing and layout of the video are pretty simple, with the names of the animals being presented alongside a couple facts, all over some calm B-roll footage.
I know y'all can hear that, those sounds, little tippy taps. Paste. That
the overall tone changes a bit once we make it to the 3-minute mark. Contrary to the prior animals, the habitat for the one upcoming is denoted as everywhere.
Right, we can turn this back on.
And if that weren't strange enough, music is non-existent from this point forward, merely leaving us with an ominous dead air. And so, the next animal up is something called a woodcrawler. For the next couple minutes, the video explains a bit more about them, like the fact that they're found all over North America, are excellent hunters, do not make any noise at all, and prefer the homes of large families for nesting. Apparently they adapt to this residential environment, although it's unclear what exactly that means. So, right in the middle of episode 1, we get a brief glimpse of what we can assume to be a woodcrawler. It appears to be some sort of long-legged creature, and I've got a funny feeling that its actual body is much, much larger than a human. Curiously, the video also presented somewhat of a paradox, claiming that you will hear screaming, but they stole their voices. If we're assuming that the victims of these so-called woodcrawlers are humans, then it leaves us wondering what exactly they're doing to them. Lastly, I find it interesting that this creature was described as nature's mockery, as that term can be interpreted in a couple different ways. Are woodcrawlers ridiculing our entire perception of nature and how life within it functions? Or are they some kind of absurd imitation of human life? I could be way overanalyzing this first part, but I'm just curious why that's there, considering how unnatural this creature looks. In this next scene, we're outside of that same house at night. It's hard to make out, but we can notice people inside of it this time. Why? Yeah, those aren't people, are they? So, with their bizarre, unnatural behavior, combined with a caption claiming that they're fake people, it's clear that woodcrawlers don't kill humans. They imitate them. This effectively establishes synonymy between the two, as their method of adapting somehow involves taking over their bodies and conforming, to the best of their ability, to natural human life. As we've seen though, their behavior is far from it. They are incredibly tense, they can't properly interact, and when faced with an outsider that isn't one of their kind, they attack them. They're an absurd imitation of the human form. A true mockery of nature. Storm safety tips. Brought to you by Harbinge Technologies. The focus of this video is to help keep you and your family informed on how to remain safe in the event of a major catastrophic storm. The steps outlined are pretty cut and dry, with the first being to reinforce your home by improving structural support, replacing roof shingles, and fixing leaks. Step 2 advises that you install an early warning system that, conveniently, Harbinge Technologies makes. According to the video, this albedo alarm will warn you ahead of time if a storm or other danger is approaching your home. Interesting. I wonder what that could be. The third step involves building a storm bunker, which should be precisely 18 feet long by 10 feet tall. The tape then advises us to install a 4 to 5 foot wide aluminum hemisphere and to place their timber shortwave radio next to it. We're given no further context on why it should be there, but it should. This next segment explains what to do during these storms. It's first advised to take our family to the bunker, followed by powering on our timber radio and remaining calm. Oddly, when these steps are shown, conflicting statements appear below each one that seem to add nothing to the table in terms of instruction. Rather, it tends to inflict the viewer with doubt, with claims like, "Your home doesn't belong to you now. Ignore all sound produced by the radio. They're auditory hallucinations." And your tears are filled with salt. If we took these statements away, we wouldn't be losing out on anything, which makes me wonder why it's there and who the hell wrote it. Listen, under your feet, crawling through the floor. It seems that this line is referencing woodcrawlers, which leads me to believe that this storm isn't the type we know of in a conventional sense. This, combined with the immediate camera cut to lights in the field, alongside that warning to return to the bunker if we see them, makes it appear that these woodcrawlers and whatever's emitting these lights are perhaps the same creature. With this in mind, this leaves us to wonder what exactly this storm entails. How often does it happen? And most importantly, why is it happening? Deep blue. Created by a Geneva production company, the premise of this one is simple. Lighthearted education about various creatures and regions of the deep blue sea. Towards the latter half of the video, we cut to a section about the deep ocean. The Marianas Trench is introduced as a large foreboding hole in the ocean floor, described as the deepest place on Earth. Following this, we can observe a cross-section view, introducing an even deeper and more ambiguous region of the ocean called the DBZ Tunnel. And, ominously, the depth here is unknown. Nothing can live inside the Marianas Trench. The same, however, can be said about the DBZ tunnel. Taking what we know so far about woodcrawlers, how they were introduced, and the connection to them from storm safety tips, I'm led to believe that this creature is perhaps a full-body shot of one of them. With this, we become aware of their ability to exist on land, underground, and beneath the extreme pressure of the ocean floor, cementing them as a highly resilient creature that humans, by all accounts, need to stay away from. Regnad computing, huh? This next entry involves a new state-of-the-art AI tech showcase. The overview explains that it's been in development for about 4 years and is already highly advanced. Curiously, this is the only tape so far to start off with absolutely no music, which I found notable considering that in each video so far, the music stops when an ominous revelation is about to happen. The AI showcase is laid out in the form of short stories. Each iteration spans 4 lines of text, and as we progress through this video, we'll find that what starts off as unintelligible quickly morphs into something we're able to logically follow.
Why was there not a pickle for so long? Why was that so far down? Hello?
As expected, this first story made little sense. We can gather an overall idea of what it's trying to convey through words like river, a secret, death, and the names Jack and Mary. Iteration 2 expands on this a bit, and reads the following. Jack leapt over the river. Mary
I haven't mentioned it yet, but this is like probably my favorite video on YouTube. I've watched this probably
with iteration 3,
15 times, which is a lot of times I could have been watching something new, like The Godfather. I've never watched The Godfather. My PNG is spazzing out. It was. Okay, wow, it's fine. There's batting out again. Okay, I gotta fix the sensitivity on this. I don't know. I gotta figure it out. This sucks. So is getting a super off that. Oh, okay. So, what the heck? Okay, whatever. I know for damn sure Vegeta's not getting super off. No. It is what it is.
So that was a lot to take in. Those last 2 iterations diverted pretty heavily from the original story, formulating a narrative with tons of clues to pick apart. The story here surrounds 2 people named Jack and Mary. We can assume that they're out in the wild, leaping over a river to get to a secret place. It's unclear what this secret place is, but for now, we can assume it to be a storm safety bunker. In Iteration 4, we get references to a so-called voice from space, and in that same story, it's clear that Mary has become something else. This something else looks to be the product of the hungry eye that's referenced thereafter. However, by this point in the video, we're unsure of what exactly that is. Something else I found interesting was this small detail. At the beginning, we're told we're going to explore 3 iterations of short stories by this AI. In reality, we received 5. This leaves us with 2 options on why this is. Either an external party had tampered with the video or this computer, or this AI is somehow advanced enough to make decisions on its own. Personally, I'm led to believe the former, and this is why. As we could see, the structure of these stories takes place in third person. During iterations 2, 4, and 5, however, we receive specific lines of text that address either us or Jack in the first person. And after stringing these together, we gain an interesting result. I hear you. Jack, do you see me? I've become something else. Do you see the hungry eye? Here I am. With this context, I want you to listen very carefully to that last iteration once more. There is some sort of voice coming through the broadcast. It's extremely muffled, however it's clear that something is either interfering or feeding information to this AI. And personally, I'm led to believe that it's Mary. She and Jack are not just filler names for these stories. They are actual people, and I'm going to infer that the story presented actually happened. Moving on, towards the video's end, we observed a glitch into 2 diagrams. Given the references to the voice from space and the moving stars, I'm led to believe that these 2 circles represent planets. The larger appears to be the hungry eye, being denoted as alive, with intent. It seems to be hyper-focusing on a smaller planet, which we can assume to be Earth. And in the second diagram, we can observe the effects that this eye is having on us. Somehow, it's projecting some sort of vessel down to Earth, and once it makes contact, it mutates into the creatures we've been seeing thus far. It's clear that there's something larger at play here, and there's a lot of context that we're still missing. So let's keep this in mind and press on to see what else Gemini has for us. When we shift gears to our solar system, we're able to learn a few facts about the various planets. A diagram greets us, encompassing the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. After learning facts about the Sun, Mercury, and Venus, we then make our way to Earth, described as one of the only planets in our solar system capable of supporting life. Jupiter, the video highlights its big red spot. It claims that it's not an eye. It is an open wound. We then observe Saturn. The outer portion of its ring is absent, and it's denoted as something called the Gateway. Iris is new. It's with us now, laughing at us. It's clear that the overarching threat is not that of woodcrawlers, but the Iris, which has somehow caused neighboring Neptune to mutate. What exactly that means at this point in time is unclear, but if I were to guess, it could be some sort of breeding ground for the creatures it emits by solar storm. Due to its presence, other planets like Jupiter and Saturn are beginning to suffer from the effects of its influence. And given the story so far, it's safe to conject that its next target is Earth.
Chat, would you visit Mud Acres? I think I would. I would visit Moonlight Acres. Look at that view.
Tape 6 changes gears.
Hey,
again.
I'd live in that cabin.
Here, we're introduced to a freshly reopened campground called Moonlight Acres, a serene getaway that's completely isolated from outside civilization. The tape showcases its many accommodations and activities, including hiking trails, archery, canoeing, and their flagship Lights in the Sky event, which is oddly denoted as a harvest. Afterwards, we're able to catch a glimpse of their various structures. Among these are burrow-free family cabins, kids' cabins, and even their original rustic cabins for those feeling a bit more outdoorsy. Each of these are beautifully decorated to ensure your stay is as cozy as possible, and you can rest easy knowing that they have alarms in place in case a sudden storm takes place. Just be absolutely, positively sure not to do not answer the knocking at the door.
Would you answer the knocking at the door? Would you, chat? Be honest with me. Because I would. I would have my headphones on. I would not be listening.
Around 3 minutes into the
Nobody
video,
coming in.
we're introduced to the mythology behind Moonlight Acres. Allegedly back in the 1930s, strange, well-dressed men would visit the campground, asking to enter the admin's cabin every single night for years. Apparently one night, a deal was made with them, and they left, never to be seen again. Following this, we get a mention of skinwalkers that were allegedly sighted during the same time period. For those unaware, skinwalkers are a type of shape-shifting humanoid creature that's able to inhabit the form of any animal they desire. It's unclear if they're referencing the same type of skinwalker within Gemini Home Entertainment. But with what we know about woodcrawlers and how they function, I definitely see some overlap.
God, I love Gemini. Oh, this is such a good analog horror. Not quite there yet, chat. I still got another 2 hours at least, though. So. get there.
Adam Levitch, Barry Johnson,
I mean,
Truman
I'd rather be
Michaels,
playing Team Blade
Bethany
X right now,
Newman,
I'm not gonna lie.
Alec Davison, and Dorothy Bates are listed
I'm a
as
big Team
vessels.
Blade fan if you could not tell by the
Carriers
background.
of
Maybe you didn't
something
realize that. Okay, so
That isn't good.
that's a screenshot from
It's
Xenoblade
clear
2.
to us that the knocking was coming from woodcrawlers.
My favorite
given the photo of them,
location
we're able
in
to
Xenoblade 2,
finally
but,
establish a scale for how gargantuan these creatures can be.
Damn.
I'm going to conject that the woodcrawler we saw in World's Weirdest Animals was
Anyways, I
much
love
younger
Xenoblade.
than the ones we're seeing
New
here
Xenoblade game out.
in Acres.
It's new to me.
While we're currently unsure what their lifespan is,
I didn't have a
we know
Wii
that
U
this one
growing up, so I did
surely
not have a
wouldn't
chance
fit
to play it.
into a house.
But
Given
now
the
I do, and I'm
campground's
having a blast
mythology,
with it.
with the stories about
Xenoblade
the
X
strange
so
men
far-
that
so far.
coexisted with so-called
So big,
skinwalkers
it's
in the
almost daunting.
1930s, this
But-
implies that these creatures have been here for decades.
We
But
manage.
This leaves us to wonder what they've been doing
manage.
and how they've upheld the status of mere campground
And
mythology
I'd rather
for
be
so
playing there
long.
now.
We know the original staff opened their
But,
doors, likely being killed or transformed into fake
Dokkan
people, and resulting in the
Very Silly
campground's original
Gooses
closure. But where the hell
decided
have
to
they
drop
been
World
since
Tournament
then? What is clear
at the same
is
time
that Moonlight
as
Records is back open. Now
Xenoblade X.
advertising burrow-free cabins and having a clear awareness of these
Silly
creatures
Gooses.
existing,
They should have known better, honestly.
someone gave it the green light.
Oh well.
But who? Wilderness Survival Guide. In this one, a man named Jack Wilder is going to teach us about wildlife. Fitting name and familiar. The video opens informing us about various safety measures to take place when out in the wild. We learn which equipment to bring and are then presented with various natural hazards to be aware of, like thorns, ditches, various animals, and what to do if we ever come face to face with a bear. There's our skinwalker. So we now know that woodcrawlers can not only kill and inhabit the bodies of humans, but animals too. Interesting. Following this section, we're greeted with numerous flora and their impacts on humans. Among these are poison ivy, which causes rashes, itching, swelling, and blisters. Water hemlock, which causes trembling, convulsions, respiratory failure, and death. And lastly, something called nature's mockery. Not the woodcrawler description we saw earlier, but the actual, proper nature's mockery. Its effects on humans encompass hallucinations, sudden muscular paralysis, body disfigurement, and flesh decay. In other words, something that can latch onto you, something that can break you, deforming you into a being hardly resembling that of a human. But, hey, at least it won't kill you. One of the most disturbing and unethical aspects of this video was a description of a human pleading for help. Clearly, they were desperately in need. However, the video plays it off, persuading you that this human being that's probably on the brink of death is nothing but an auditory hallucination. Knowing what we know about fake people and their conformity to human life, I understand that this could very easily be one of them. But what if it isn't? We're presented with a catch-22 here. If we risk our own life to help this person and they're not a fake person, then we've done something good and helped save a life. But if we assume that it's a fake person without ever confirming it, we'll never know any better and they'd be left to die. It's a tactic of manipulation. Gemini Home Entertainment has planted a seed in the heads of whoever watches this, and it effectively contributes to a moral apprehension, a panic per se, in which you truly cannot trust anyone. Moving on, we then learn how to create a fire. Critical knowledge for anyone venturing into the wild. If your fire fails to start though, Jack Wilder advises to And so we have Exhibit A fake person screaming for help, like bait. Welcome to Lethal Omen, a video game intended for RegNat computers. It takes place at Moonlight Acres, and throughout this video, we're able to observe the embodiment of various motifs we've seen in videos past. The beginning of the game starts out serene. The player peeks around the campground a bit, however is soon greeted with an enemy mob that are out to get them. Interestingly, these enemies appear to be dressed in military fatigues, giving rise to the possibility that there's some sort of military intervention at play here. It should be noted that there have been absolutely zero references to government involvement thus far. However, given the circumstances, it would make sense. Keep this in mind. We'll come back to it. Anyway, a few moments later, we encounter what seems to be a fake person. And afterwards, the campground alarm begins blaring. The game tells us to run. And that, my friends, is what takes place during a storm. Panic. Disruption. Invasion. It appears to me that the basement we sought refuge in followed every single protocol that Harbinge outlined back in Storm Safety Tips. The dome was there and the radio was on, but that didn't stop them. Like breaking through cardboard, a woodcrawler was able to breach their advertised fortress of refuge with ease, which leaves me curious if Harbinge made their guide in good faith. If we can recall, there was a double purpose to their video. Not only were they giving advice, but they were also selling products, like the timber radio and the albedo alarm. From an outside perspective, they appear to be capitalizing on mass panic to reap profits, although that point is merely conjecture, since, for all we know, they too may be oblivious to the inefficacy of their products, the blind leading the blind per se. This is a video game, but if the iris can move around the solar system at will, coming within a critical distance from Earth, then yeah, there's a problem. And it ain't just woodcrawlers. Interestingly, this section occurred at twilight, which mirrors the various other references we've seen to woodcrawler activity. The fields, the fake people, the knocking. If there's something I take away here, it's that it seems that these creatures are more active, more violent, when the sun goes down. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, you can actually play this. Lethal Omen is a game chock full of secrets. You can spend a solid hour exploring Moonlight Acres, discovering its hidden lore, and unlocking each of the 5 endings awaiting you. I'm going to go over them now, so if you'd like to play this for yourself and keep things unspoiled, I'll give you 10 seconds to skip forward to this timestamp. like we established, within Lethal Omen, there are 5 different endings to uncover. Before we get to those though, I want to bring you into the campground to explore the hidden lore awaiting us. We begin the game next to a highway outside of Moonlight Acres. Both ends of the road are blocked off, however we can observe 2 cars nearby, one out in this field, and another resembling a police car. We're tasked with collecting 3 keys, and after doing so, we're then granted access to the campground.
Oh, it's fine.
One of the first things you'll notice is this bulletin board. It contains 2 notes and 2 strange images that are hard to make out. The first note informs us of the Lights in the Sky event taking place tonight at 9:30 p.m. and the second informs us to bring our so-called SIV. Moving inward, we're then greeted with 6 cabins. In the first, we can observe headphones, a shortwave radio, a TV, and a Gemini home entertainment VHS tape. In the second, we get much of the same. This time though, a stack of tapes containing storm safety tips and other Gemini media are present. However, there is this one that I'm unable to make out. In the third, we can observe a TV playing a Gemini tape.
As we reach 25.
Here, we learn that an SIV is something called a sleep image visualizer that we're required to plug into a module. And that same SIV module can be seen lying on the dresser. Given the name, it seems that the SIV's goal centers around recording dreams. For who, how, and why, we're currently unsure of. But, interestingly, if we shoot this specific monitor, we're able to observe the SIV in action for Adam Levitch, the former men's club supervisor that we know was transformed into a vessel. In cabin 4, we can see that things are a bit messier. On the TV once more is that SIV tutorial, and scattered across the room are numerous SIVs and headphones, along with the tape labeled Albedo Alarm Settings Video. Moving on to cabin 5, we can observe a huge mess. There isn't much to this one besides this SIV on the ground. And last but not least, cabin 6. This one has clearly been ravaged by something, evident by the large break in the floor. Within it, we can observe that SIV tape, along with the SIV module and some sort of strange plague surrounding it. Upon making our way back outside into the archery area, we're greeted with 7 targets, along with our first enemy encounter. After taking them out and approaching the targets, we're able to read snippets of articles about the events taking place at Moonlight Acres. Campgoers distraught after Moonlight Acres' famous Lights in the Sky event is abruptly cancelled. If you've been looking forward to the Lights in the Sky event this year at Moonlight Acres Family Camp, don't be so hasty to pack your bags. The official Moonlight Acres website recently updated, revealing that the event has been abruptly cancelled with no reason given. Campgoers are enraged, especially those who go to Moonlight Acres every year simply to watch the event, and demand an explanation for the abrupt cancellation. The Times asked Moonlight Acres for an interview. They politely declined. The others partially covered, making it a bit harder to make out, but it seems to focus on the disappearance of a person named Jordan Barnes. They were most likely Canadian, and given the fact that this note is beneath the one about the Lights in the Sky cancellation, we can assume that this is why. Investigators are curious, though, as to why so many are worried about their disappearance, pondering if they're victims of a so-called mass hysteria. Moving on, once we make our way to the administrator's cabin, we can observe numerous campground photos covering the walls. The first, amusingly, contains a Mario 64 reference and displays an aerial view of the campground. The second shows the campground entrance from 1982. The third is a swimming pool, circa 1988. And the fourth is a camp staff group photo taken in 1984. On the far wall are numerous other camp photos that are unlabeled, and opposite this are shelves full of VHS tapes. Here we can make out various Gemini videos.
That reminds me, I've started
However,
collecting
this
VHS
specific
tapes.
one bears a name
I'm
and date.
so happy about it. I love VHS.
Given what we know so far about the Civs and how they operate, I'm led to believe that this might be an archive of numerous snapped dreams.
Maybe in the
Further
future, a
inside,
fast video
we find a shelf full of
VHS
TVs
tapes I've
and a
got.
strange door that's floating on the wall.
We'll see. We'll see.
Upon making our way up to it, we encounter an unkempt attic full of discarded televisions, and on the floor beneath them, various notes reading the following. It was looking into me, once to eat the camp. I fear the men may return. My face is going away. I hear voices. The spot on my neck has grown. There's a bonfire tonight. I'll stay in my bedroom. Lights in the skies tonight. I've been told that the men will be present. Maybe you will leave us alone now. Something that stood out to me here was the reference to the spot on their neck. It seems to allude to an infection that is slow moving. There are absolutely zero references to woodcrawlers or any sort of creature. Given what we know so far about nature's mockery, it doesn't seem to be that either, which leaves me curious if there's another form of infection taking place here. Something biologic. Moving on, if we make our way back outside and head leftward, we encounter what I assume to be nature's mockery. And within it, a heavily deformed human being giving us a visual as to what this plant actually does to you. While examining it, the fake person we saw back in the commercial gameplay spawns in. And then we're told to run. And so, like we saw earlier, we make our way back to the bunker. And from here, everything plays out as shown before. Well, except that. And so, this time, we hear a fake person screaming in the distance. And we come to find that they're infected with the same plague we saw on the cabin floor. And that, my friends, is ending 1. Play the game like the commercial and encounter the iris staring into you. From here, we're going to explore the other 4 endings. Clearly, Lethal Omen's lore is gargantuan, leaving us with tons of questions that we're currently unable to answer. I'm curious what else there is to find though, so let's head back in to uncover it. Moving on to ending 2, you once again begin the game as usual. Collect the keys and fight the enemies. However this time, instead of approaching the Nature's Mockery abomination, you gotta make your way back to the admin's attic. Once you're inside, and turn around to exit though, you're greeted with a strange mannequin that tracks your every move. And after approaching it, you observe the following. To unlock Ending 3, you need to collect the keys, kill the enemies, and approach nature's mockery. This time, instead of making your way to the cabin or bunker, you're required to pass through this secret entrance to the family cabin area to claim this hidden key that's also covered in that plague. After obtaining it, you make your way back to the front where you'll find this target that you've got to shoot. And after doing so and heading to the highway the campground lies on, you encounter an abandoned police car before the following plays out.
That's crazy. That's my first death in the whole tournament. That hasn't happened before. That kind of sucks. I just got really bad luck.
Ending 4 involves us making our way back in. After taking out the first round of enemies, we're required to shoot each target before making our way back to the entrance. Curiously, we then find an opening in the tree line, and upon exploring it, we encounter a massive, foreboding horn that's also covered in plague. Upon approaching it, we can hear the sounds of creatures in the distance. And of course, we do as any sane person would do, and jump in, giving us our fourth ending. And last but not least, the true ending. Here, we gotta do everything we've done prior. Keys, enemies, mockery, plagued key, and heading back to the front. Curiously, we then see an opening in the fence line, and after approaching it, we encounter a group of enemies in a formation. This time though, they're not out to kill us. They're waiting on us. That isn't everything. The game continues. We approach a tree with a sign. Shifting tendons shape anatomy. There are fewer livestock now. And another. Wretched hands tap my window. A stranger's fangs scrape the walls. And another. The floorboards creak while I sleep. Growing cracks leak with red. The field has eyes, burning deep. They are becoming restless. the mannequins, the hole, the police car, the ritual, and the iris. There is a ton to unpack within Lethal Omen, and the beauty of it is that when presented in a video game format, you're left to encounter these on your own. So, let's recap. The role of the mannequins seen in the attic ending is currently unclear. It's important to note that they appear to have a much higher polygon count than anything else found in Lethal Omen, but aside from that, hardly any context is given regarding their existence. If I had to guess, I'd say that they represent the strange men that the camp admin referenced in their notes. If we can recall, right after reading it is when we encounter them for the very first time, leading to a potential connection between the two. However, this is hitherto unconfirmed. Moving on to the hole, this appears to be the byproduct of woodcrawlers, their breadcrumb trail as they breach the confines of Earth. It's currently unclear what exactly that plague is, but perhaps we'll find our answers in later uploads. The police car seems to represent a victim. The police likely received calls of strange activity going on at Moonlight Acres,
28.
potentially involving the missing Jordan Barnes. However, after investigation, they never made it out to reveal the truth. There is a looming impression that they're aware of woodcrawlers, but this is also unconfirmed. And lastly, the ritual, an embodiment of helplessness. After realizing that everyone around you is infected, is a fake person, you lose all hope on fighting back. Police can't help you. Camp admins answer the door. They can't help you. The bunker that's supposed to keep you safe, that can't help you. And a supermassive sentient eye is looming over you. It goes without saying that in a situation like this, fighting back is futile, and the game communicates this by waiting on you. Get in, they beckon. Give in.
We'll return after these messages.
Vegeta's such a good addition to the team. Thank you, Nexpo. Oops, I didn't realize. Damn, I think I started with 60% as well. Huh. It's only been an hour and 10. Damn. Okay,
Alright,
it's just that kind of game.
halfway there. You still with me?
I won't do anything to reach 10%.
As we can
though.
see, there is
So,
a lot
a player's
going
key.
on with Gemini Home Entertainment. We still have tons of questions about the overall story here, but I wanted to circle back and recap on what we know so far. Refill your drink, heat up another popcorn, and get cozy, because you and I are only getting started.
If anyone's wondering why I keep prioritizing my Piccolo, even though he's not Rainbow, compared to the
In
friend
review.
Piccolo, which is Rainbow, it's because I've gone full grit on mine.
Within Gemini Home Entertainment,
That's
entire
really it.
story revolves around
The others
Emperor
usually
Iris.
just have either
No
semi-crit,
Empress is a super
traditional,
massive sentient
or
planet
some
that entered our solar
kinda silly
system
build.
without humans ever
that
knowing
isn't
it.
good for me,
When,
so...
how, or why it did
Oh, well.
is currently unclear. But what we do know is that it infected the neighboring ice giant Neptune, turning it into something that is alive. Neptune has become somewhat of a minion to the Iris, a vessel, or lens, that it uses to emit solar storms targeting Earth. Given the diagram from artificial computer learning, we can infer that within these solar storms are embryos and seeds that mutate into woodcrawlers and nature's mockery upon landing on Earth, the Iris's next target for mutation. Back home, the primary prey of woodcrawlers are humans, but we know that they're able to inhabit the bodies of animals as well. Woodcrawlers are highly resilient and clever, given their ability to imitate humankind, although it's still unclear what exactly they do to achieve this. On top of woodcrawlers, nature's mockery is introduced as the major foray to steer clear from, and its method of infection appears to be via direct contact. Somehow, at an unknown speed, This plant paralyzes and disfigures whatever it comes into contact with, leaving the victim in a vegetative state forever. At this point, we're currently unsure if nature's mockery eventually kills you. But even if it did, that's not much better. Within the camp information video, we catch wind of the mythology behind a campground called Moonlight Acres. Given that the strange knocking men existed at the same time as the so-called skinwalkers in the 1930s, I'm led to assume that this campground was among the very first establishments to encounter the effects of the iris. This explains why every single original staff member died. Well, except the admin. They weren't listed. This point leads us to Lethal Omen, an archaic video game that cements the time period for Gemini somewhere in the 1990s. To me, the game seems to place us into the shoes of that admin, taking us through their final minutes within their desolate campground. The various endings seem to be symbolic of the many ways they could have died, but that true ending, the hopeless suicide and transformation, that is the one that killed them. Lastly, we have two characters, Jack Wilder and Mary. Admittedly, Mary's background has been elusive. We can assume that she mutated into a woodcrawler somehow, and have also made the tenuous assumption that she's trying to communicate to Jack through the Regnat computers.
This was
Regarding
almost
Jack,
a disaster.
He's a recurring
Right
character
here as well.
throughout
Thank
Gemini Home
God
Entertainment.
Vegeta was here.
Obvious references are made in the Wilderness
Save
and AI
Vegeta.
videos, and given the nature of his work as a wildlife videographer, it leaves me to wonder if he has more to do with these tapes than they're letting on. If we can recall, World's Weirdest Animals, Storm Safety Tips, and Wilderness Survival Guide all have strikingly similar shots of video. So if he's the one behind these, clearly being attacked in the very first video, we're left to wonder what happened to him. Where is he? And so, alongside the abstruse nature of Jack's role here, there are still tons of questions left unanswered. Why do these tapes start off ordinarily, but devolve into a disturbing mess? Do each of the companies
2.9.
that Gemini Home Entertainment distributes for have humanity's best interests in mind, or is there something larger at play here? What exactly
We're
was that
almost
plague we
there.
kept seeing in Lethal Omen? Why are there stockpiles of SIG recordings
Get
in
away
the
with
admin's
just this
cabin?
last round.
How exactly do woodcrawlers infect humans? Is the majority of
no
humanity
idea how many runs
aware of
I've
this
done.
impending threat? And most importantly,
I'm sure I can
why
figure it out
did
if
the
I
iris
watch
enter
a
our
lot,
solar system?
but
We
I
know
don't
it's
care.
there, but we don't know how it operates and what its overarching plans are. What we do know, though, is that Gemini Home Entertainment is aware of all of this. They know about woodcrawlers, nature's mockery, the plague, the deaths, and Neptune's infection, but coincidentally, we know the least about them. Clearly, there's a lot of context left to film, so let's buckle down and see what else Gemini has in store for us. Well, perfect timing. For video 9, we once again meet our good friends over at Harbinge Technologies. This time, they're presenting an instructional guide on how to set up a sleep image visualizer, a device in which we can assume to give us a look into the dreams of others. We begin by orienting ourselves with a Civ module and headset before we move on to learn how to set it up. Interestingly, throughout this video, we'll soon notice anomalous interruptions that have been recorded over this tape. Interesting. So, in the middle of this video, we observe a cut to the dream sequence of a Levi Jacobs, and within it, we witness our first mannequin character outside of Lethal Omen. No further context is given to why they're there, but curiously, right after this dream sequence, we can observe that same mannequin head being used to represent a Civ client. Let's recap real quick. Levi Jacobs was asleep for 4 minutes. Adrian Gordon was asleep for 4 minutes. Jack Dean, however, was asleep for 3 days. Alright, so throughout this one, we received 2 references to the iris. One being in the Goodnight sequence, and another being within the dream of Joseph Allen,
And there it
who
is.
never woke up. Interestingly, the video is very
That
matter-of-fact
is
in
3
claiming
million.
that these images do not represent reality or the future. However, it's clear to us that they do represent the circumstances they're living in.
That's all the missions done. That
Now,
leaves me.
backing up. We've seen the name Jack in the series twice so far. Firstly in Artificial Computer Learning, and most recently in the Wilderness Survival Guide. His last name is different in this one, but for brevity, just know that this is the same person. Over on the Gemini Home Entertainment YouTube channel, they posted this image around the same time the Civ video released. On the very bottom, we're able to see his full name, and to the left, we can make out bits of the story surrounding him. According to the article,
Yeah, I'm not
Jack
catching
is
up
a
to that.
prominent TV personality and wildlife expert. He had gone missing in May, and his disappearance has been the subject of a nationwide manhunt. He allegedly disappeared while filming a new special aimed to protect and enlighten what I'm assuming to be people from what are most likely the effects of the iris.
What place am I?
Curiously, the month he went missing and the time period he underwent Civ testing are both one and the same,
not
which
so
leads
bad.
us to
How many
wonder
points? Oh my
if
gosh.
perhaps this 3-day slumber
That's a lot of
somehow
points.
led to his death. While that is currently unclear, what is clear is that Jack Dean's Wilderness
I don't
Survival
care to do
Guide
that.
and the World's Weirdest Animals videos
Except all
are
this.
distinctly connected.
Yeah,
2
you pull
parts of the
stones.
same series of videos
And
by him. With this in mind, we know he's been in the Civ, and we also know that he's been attacked by fake people.
please.
Either of these could have killed him.
Do I not have any?
So which one was it?
That doesn't count as D8, whatever.
Where is he?
No, just because I haven't done them yet. And it's free stones. Oh, I have. Oh, here's the new stages. I'll do these stages, at least some of them, and then I'll do multi. Yeah, here we go. These are units I'm working on with like levels right now, so we'll just rock this team. Oh, I already got auto on. Let's go. I just kind of want to see.
Next up on our list is a family-friendly guide made by an optic video called Games for Kids.
It's good.
Are
It's
you
just
bored?
stupid friends.
Need some new fun games to play? Well, you're in luck, they claim.
Just kind of want
And
to
so
see
we
what he
learn about
does.
the ins and outs of various
Level
games
1.
the kids can play.
I'm just curious.
First up, hide and seek. Simple enough. One player's the seeker, and the rest are hiders.
It's a stacker.
They count to 20
It's not so bad.
and go
Plus,
on
I
a
haven't
hunt.
gotten all the good equips on him yet. I just never grinded them out. Heh. Oops. But not so bad. It's not so bad.
Next up, freeze tag. One player is it, while the rest are runners.
Clear again. Alright. I think we can hear that. Maybe. Yeah, probably. I was drinking some water there. I should have muted. Oh well.
Third up, sardines. The sibling to hide and seek. One person hides, and the rest go seek. Fourth up, a game called
Man, I love Gemini Entertainment. Phew. Such a good series.
well, that's new. Contrary to every bit of advice we've gotten in videos past, like staying quiet and following the lights when the sun goes down, are all thrown out the window. We know that wood crawlers and fake people
I
are
just
more
put this
active
down,
at
I don't
night,
care.
and advice like this does nothing
I
but
already
ensure
spent
their
a couple
demise,
stones today. Plus, I still gotta do
unless
my
that's
actual
the
like,
point.
level runs, 35-6. So that was easy. Yep. Alright. So 12%. Okay. Does Dokkan hate me? Will it yell at me for this? No, it won't. Okay. I've been getting that weird glitch where it won't let me accept missions for some reason. Alright, oops. That's fine. We got time. It crashed. I can't believe it crashed.
Alright, so Feed the Woods, a game that unequivocally leads children to their own death.
Did it count as doing a summon?
As we could say,
Oh, no.
during this section we
We'll
observed numerous camera shots of the
We'll
forest.
see in a second.
Interestingly, in the third one, we could observe this strange red light in the sky.
It did. Oh my god.
It seems to match the eye that we've seen in Woodcrawlers.
Let's see.
And given the nature of this game, it would make
I don't even know
sense.
if I got any new units
Clearly,
off that.
the woods are a threat. A sort
I
of
don't know
eldritch
which one is
location that serves as a breeding
sort
ground
by
for these
new.
creatures. And
this
as
one?
with anything that is alive,
No.
they need
You?
to feed.
No. You?
Backing up,
No.
I wanted
you?
to highlight the creator of
No.
this tape,
You?
a company
No.
named
You?
Optica
No, that's
Video.
HP.
Considering
You?
the name, combined with the addition of a game that quite literally kills
We'll find
children
it.
at the benefit of these creatures, I'm led to assume that Optica Video is not a kids company at all.
Is it this one?
This is a manipulation tape with nefarious intent, and it
Wait,
also
where's-
drives home the point that the Woodcrawler's food source is drying up.
Oh.
With this notion in mind, let's think back to Moonlight Acres.
Oh.
We established that it was
Lord. I
ostensibly
liked it
ground
the way it
zero
was
for the
before.
Iris, the very first location in which humanity experienced the effects of it. Given what we know from Lethal Omen about the Lights in the
Damn,
Sky
I
event
should not have
cancellation
touched
and the
buttons.
disappearance of Jordan Barnes, we can speculate that perhaps Moonlight Acres is or was closed during the time this tape was made. The Woodcrawlers are hungry, leaving them with no choice but to expand to the neighboring forest to inhabit and feast
Oops.
on animals, which,
Hold on,
as we
hold
learned
on,
from the camp admin's
Hold on,
note,
no, come back.
also began to dwindle in numbers.
I had
It's
it
here
sorted
we
the way I
realize
liked
that they're
it.
scraping for anything they can get, and this is
By
further evident
type.
by the shot of the Woodcrawler devouring the police car
Why
that
isn't
the
it
video's
sorted by
in.
type anymore? Oh, no.
Whoever's behind Optica Video isn't someone inherently good.
Wait, now it is. Okay.
They're helping
Why was it
them,
different before? I don't know.
leading us, for the
Let's come
very
down here.
first time,
Let's see.
to question the morality of Gemini Home Entertainment as a company.
I did
With
get
Regnad,
Goku.
Harbinge, and Geneva, there
Unsurprising.
was, at the very least, ambiguity in their ethics. But here, that's not the case at all.
Did I get any SSR on this summon? I wish I knew how to sort by new on this, on JP, because I'm like blind and lost. I can never find my way on this thing. Let's just sort by SSR.
Next up on our journey is a tape named Advanced Mining Vehicle. Here, we're introduced to a Canadian organization called NAMAD, or Northern Alberta Mining and Development.
Well, I didn't have LRD
The video
DKP yet,
begins
so
by
just
introducing
got it
us
now.
to a new, revolutionary piece of mining
That's
technology
another
called
LR
the
I have to
Remote
awaken,
Operated
though.
Compact Tunneler. As the name implies, it provides the user with tunneling capabilities while mitigating
Okay,
all
I just
risks
don't
that would
see
otherwise be involved.
Anything new? Okay, well. Why did the game crash? Whatever. Whatever. Goku. Oh, come on. Dude, this game hates me. It loved me so much during the anniversary, now it just hates me. Screen drag. What? This game hates me. It does. Damn.
The video then informs us of the various technologies present within the ROCT, like an optical zoom lens to focus on important details, a compact microphone to detect running water or nests, and even an altimeter with a heads-up display so you're always conscious of where and what the
now it
ROCT
shows
is tunneling
you.
into.
Thanks, game. Well, that's it. Yeah, I'm definitely just gonna call it here. 8%. Yeah, we're done. We're done. I did the thing I set out to do anyways. I'm gonna get good rewards from this. Do I have? I have some, but I'm not gonna use them yet.
Following this, we learn of the heavily protected industrial-grade
that's it.
battery aboard the
I'm
ROCT.
leaving.
And it seems like we're gonna need it, considering it's been
Bye.
spotted by